Okay, I think I'm ready. Sorry for the slight delay. I just need to make sure I've got everything in order. Let's see. Okay. I think I'm in a good place. Right, let's get going then. So, if you've been following the stream, you will know that I am building a job tracker so that I can keep track of all the jobs that I'm applying for. It's something that I just thought would be useful for more people to have access to. I'm currently doing all of that in spreadsheets and Google Docs, which is challenging to keep organized. So I started building this app, and I thought it might be interesting for people to see how I'm building the app. Not that I'm really pretending to be any sort of expert, and I'm certainly taking advice from people who are watching. Excuse me. So today, last time we did some error handling with anyhow and this error. This error allows us to make errors easier to create, and anyhow makes results easier to use, which is very nice. One thing that we're still missing really is actually managing what happens when we have an error. And I wanted to add in some logging. And a big push for this was that both myself and the Curious Library have been having difficulty with our video editor of choice, which is DaVinci Resolve. We both have the studio versions, and it runs into problems a lot, and then we don't know what's actually going on. So I've decided that I need to make sure that if anything goes wrong in this application, users have some way of looking into what's going wrong. It's just a really good practice, really good to make sure that, you are, coming from a web developer background, logging is also very, very important so that you, the developer, know when something is going wrong, trying to work out what actually happened. So we shall have a look at that. Let me jump over to, which button is it? This one? Nope, this one. There we go. Now, I should follow on from, let's see, last time. So last time getting the anyhow and this error up was so easy, we actually moved on to making fields editable. In the application, all fields are now editable currently. If we add more fields, we'll have to add more editability. Let's see, going to go to, I don't know, there we go. There's an old commit strip joke about pushing up on the terminal just to get back to what you were doing. Okay, I need to shrink this down. Where are we? So we can bring this over the top. So that is not up to date. Let's cancel that. I did merge it in today, so I think if we just do a pull, we should be all right. I need to work out what to do with cargo lock. Grab my phone out of the way. And sorry. Okay. Yeah, so cargo lock keeps causing issues because something is running format over it and making it change, but I don't know why. I will need to look into that at some point. Oops. Okay, so we now have editable fields. So another new company, you can click on that, change it, get rid of the 2 on the end, enter, goes away. Amazing. See, I was really thinking about how this goes. Now one thing that I did add that I didn't really talk about was I always wanted this to have a bit more going on than it simply being some text, because as you're writing your notes, you might have some paragraph of info and then a list of items. I thought it would be really nice if, I mean, this text box is too small. It's stuff we'll have to sort out at another time. I think those are the same size because of a different issue, but yeah, we now have Markdown being rendered into this block here. So when you make edits, you'll be able to add in lists and links and whatever else you need just using Markdown, which I think will be really helpful. Everything else is also editable. Tick. So yeah, it seems to be in a reasonably good place with that. So how do we want to do this? I'm trying to get into the habit of using, if I press the right combination of keys, I'm trying to get into the habit of using IntelliJ a bit more. Hi, Intrini, thanks very much. I'm trying to get into the habit of using IntelliJ more. I don't know whether this is necessarily a good thing. I'm quite comfortable using the command line for Git, especially with incremental, like partial commits with git add-p and things like that is fine. Just trying to use the IDE a little bit more because I feel like maybe it'll be a bit more clear for this sort of thing. Anyway. Now, the tool that I want to use, let's get rid of some of this stuff we don't need. And sorry, I was making edits to my actual video today. My actual video. Hi, Morius. If that's how I say your name, let me know if I'm saying it wrong. The iterators video will be out on Patreon today, I think. It's currently exporting right now after its final changes. If I've not made any mistakes there, the iterators video will be out today on Patreon and on the 1st, whatever that is. I've got a calendar right in front of me. The 1st is a Sunday on YouTube. And thank you very much, Warriors. So yeah, iterators will be out on Sunday for everyone. I've enjoyed making that one, but it did take a really long time. I'm hoping that threads won't take as long. I have started on a rough draft of what that's going to look like. So we're not too far behind at the moment, or at all really. It's just feeling a bit squeaky bum time. Let's close that and keep those open. Close that. And I need... I am not sponsored by... thank you, SM. I know that's a different person. I am not. I'm one of the few YouTube channels that is not sponsored by Opera GX, but I do quite like it as a browser, so they can have that for free. So the tool I want to use is tracing subscriber, I think. Now, conceptually within Rust, there is a concept of log levels. There is in many different languages, but Rust has a pretty good ingrained concept. I strongly suspect I will see... No. Let's see if we can bring it up. It's just a crate called log here, and almost everyone uses this specific crate, I believe. And this will emit logs for us, and then tracing subscriber, I believe, will be able to pick those up. He says extremely unsure that that's definitely the case. Let's see. I think we might just have to dive into it and see what happens. So I know that I'm going to want this all over the place in terms of logging, but in terms of consuming the logs, I only right now care about the desktop application. So the application's broken down into different packages. So this is a workspace. I do worry about going over this every single time. I know that I'll have different people watching at different times. So we have a workspace. There are different packages inside the workspace. There are a few dependencies that are used across the workspace. The current application is just desktop. we're using Dioxys as a framework to build the application, and we can make a server and a web like front end for it. I'm probably not going to do that with this particular version of the program, and the reason is I just don't feel like it needs it. Everything has to be a service nowadays. Everyone wants their subscription money. I don't want that to be this, and I have said, and to make it clear at the beginning of each stream, I would love for people to give me money for this, but I'm not asking anyone for money. There is now already a supporter tab on the app. Let me just reopen it here, which will take you to places you can support me financially, but I only want you to do that if you currently have money that you can do that with. I definitely don't want to make this a subscriber service. I do have thoughts about how I could allow people to share their data across devices, which would largely lean on other people's cloud infrastructure, Google Cloud or Apple Cloud or whatever, but that is way down the list of things to do. First and foremost, I want to just get the app working on the desktop, and then I'll think about how I might make that work on tablets and mobile and other things with shared data. So, tracing log. I think we'll need log first. So let's get that in. I don't think we need to do anything with this one in order to use it. It's literally just will give us the different log levels. And I don't know if I'm necessarily going about this the right way. So I did do a little bit of research on this over the last week, but only a tiny bit because I've really been trying to get the other video finished. I believe what we can do is set up multiple subscribers that listen to events being generated by logs in different ways and record those to a file. But I cannot remember how we do that. I don't think it's this. That's just setting up the... Let me just double check my notes. Literally just says 3 words, logging, and then tracing subscriber. So I have a feeling it's this. I think what I want to do is actually write out JSON, and then I think I can use that to output to a file or not. Okay, well, first of all, let's just get some JSON anyway. And this... Okay, so apparently I was looking at... initially, let's load this up in the other browser, and everyone can see. So this is basically what I found. So the reason I wanted to log as JSON was I want to write it into a file, and then I want to be able to read that file back into the application so that you don't have to go hunting around for files elsewhere. So this seems to be all we need. So we'll need log and we'll need tracing subscriber, and then we should just be able to write out the output. Now I need to check on getting that into a file, but I think it's a good place to start. So let's do that. I know I'm hiding that behind myself on the thing. So log we're going to use everywhere. Tracing subscriber we're only going to use here. PQR, MNO, PQR, so here. Tracing subscriber. And I think, if I remember rightly, for this we need format, creatures, format and stud and JSON. So I think we need all of these features enabled on the crate. If you program Rust and you're not familiar with features, they are very cool. It allows you to conditionally include entire portions of your application, which can save you a lot in build time. It can save you in performance. And I think it, like, from a developer point of view, when writing libraries and things, it just helps me think about what is needed for certain things. Like, does everyone need, for example, the ability to write to memory, to the heap? Is that always necessary? And in this case, we do know that it will be necessary. That's what this feature stud is for, as opposed to no stud. The funny thing for me is when we talk about no stud, what we're really talking about is core, which is still part of stud. In Rust, the standard library is broken up into 3 largish sub-libraries. See if we can find them in here. Oh, more actually. So the stud is everything. Core contains stuff which does not require any special hardware features or any underlying operating system or anything like that. Alloc does require memory to be able to assign arbitrary amounts of memory. So all of your box types, things like string, they're all part of this, vec, things like that, because they have to be able to assign memory. If you use the no stud here, the bit of the standard library you're not getting is actually the alloc part of this library. Core is also part of the standard library, but I don't know, when we say no stud, we just mean no alloc. Back to the code. So I'm going to try simply logging something out over here, maybe. So we could do log info. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, I need to bring log in. That's not what we want. So this is going to be a workspace one. So these are not in the right order. It doesn't matter. We'll sort it out another time. I don't think we need any features on this one, as far as I'm aware. And we are getting, can't assign requested address. Oh, have I got this running in 2 places? No. Cargo build failed, signal by the compiler. Let's just try rerunning and see what happens. Doesn't seem to care this time. Okay, so we have our log in there. Let's try and bring this somewhere that's kind of hidden. But what we don't have is it being output. So let's just do. That actually needs to be that needs to be the last thing. Let's leave it as it was. And I think that's all we need. So let's create another function called, maybe we don't even need another function. I do think this needs to be the very first thing that happens. Oops. How do I access the... I've forgotten how to access my cleverer clipboard. Where was I? Here. So we'll grab this. Put this in here. Now I have no guarantee that this will actually turn up in here. And there's 2 reasons why it might not turn up in here. That said, it did. Okay. Now I think that's a bit interesting that we have this server and macOS are both producing the same outputs. But here we have our log. We've got a timestamp, a very precise timestamp. We have the level, and then we have the details of the output here. And what's really useful whenever you're logging in any application, and I think especially if you are, again, a web developer like me, sorry to keep bringing that up, being able to log out in JSON makes your logs much more queryable. Now, the problem that we have is that is not output into a file, and that's what I really want. I want to be able to write to a file so that inside of the application, we can read that file and then decide what we're going to do with the data. Unfortunately, I don't think... Well, I think we can probably just Google it, right? Tracing subscriber. Write to file. So in here we have that's interesting. JSON layer, format layer, We can just, so this is setting up the actual subscriber in order to work out what exactly we are going to be recording. This is right. Okay, file create, and then this makes sense. So this would open up a file, and then we can use, so we can then use a writer to write to the file. Layers, as I understand it, you can use multiple layers inside of one subscriber, so that it can subscribe to events and then output to multiple things. And I did think, I was thinking that would be quite useful in that it might be handy to be able to have the logger output to standard out or standard error even, with the specific purpose of getting, say, info level logs if you are writing code for it and you need to be able to see everything that's happening, or to be able to set the log level based on the environment, but only write sort of errors directly to the file system. And one thing to bear in mind is that if we are writing a lot of stuff out right into the file system all of the time is potentially a problem. So we should have a look into that. So next step then, we would like to look at the with writer. So is that, I'm just going to guess to begin with. Yes, we can do that here. However, what we might want to do, as I said, is separate this out into two things. So let's create a function, fn configure logging. And this will help us abstract away some of this stuff. I'm going to stop this running for a minute, just because that's going to get really annoying every time we change a line. We would like... we're going to need to create a logging file. Log file. Sorry, that's not how we do that at all. Log file. Then we're going to want a file location. Now I'm using directories to pull in from here. In macOS and in Linux, you have special locations that you're supposed to write files to, but in Windows, I don't think you do. So I think what I probably want to do is effectively what we've done here, which is we created this data directory and then we've pushed storage onto it. I think I'm just going to do the same, but with logs so that we have it in a known location. We can always change this later. So let's grab this bit. Now, of course, the challenge is going to be if there's some reason you can't write files, that in of itself will not be loggable. So I think what we might do is see if we can append a with to the registry. This is what I'm thinking at the moment. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's just start off with this. So we've got directories is going to be here. Data directory is not going to be data directory. It's going to be log directory. I do not need this anymore. This was... so this is also, like, this is another kind of logging, but this is just one that's built into Rust, and we'll just dump this information out. Not really what you're supposed to do. This is, you can see here, actually, this is what was being dumped out, was the location of my data directory, so I can open that up. Luckily, nothing secret in that. So one thing that does slightly irk me in Rust, there's not very many things, but I don't like how I don't think there's a way of returning a new version of, or like a reference to this. So when I push on here, this takes a mutable reference to data directory here to mutate what's in there. Sometimes it would just be nice if you could have like an owned version of this that will essentially return a new version. So like it could literally take self and return self. There probably is a way of doing that, but off the top of my head, I actually do not know what it is. Anyway, let's move on. So yeah, sorry, that's the thing we're sort of copying. That's here. So now we get file. Oh, that's what we were looking at here. Sorry, I've made a bit of a mess with that. File, new, create apparently. Oh, nearly made a mistake there. This is going to need to be, I think we can pass in a path buff in here. So maybe this isn't going to be logdr, maybe it's going to be, let's just read the documentation. So creates new file in a read write mode error if the files exists. We probably don't care if the file exists. Maybe we timestamp it. Yes, I think we'll do that. We'll timestamp it. And we'll timestamp it again, like ridiculously accurately, so that there's just no chance of an overlap. Now, my problem here, of course, is going to be we need that directory to exist. So create directory all. Log direct. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. And again, like if that can't be created, the whole application is going to fall over. The expect here might be okay to tell a user what actually went wrong. Like this would be a pretty severe error if it can't create a directory. I think that's probably, I can live with that. So then we want to do log file equals, oops, that was clever. Look at that. Okay, I have been hating on the AI a lot lately, but this is starting to look like it works quite nicely. I need a timestamp. Can't remember how to get that in Rust. System time, of course. It's one of those, this is quite a funny one. So in order to get the current timestamp, as in the number of seconds that passed, maybe we won't do timestamp, maybe we'll literally get system time or instant. I don't think it's instant that we want. No. System time is different from instant type, not monotonic. This means that you can save a file to the file system, then save another file to the file system. The second file has a system time measurement earlier than the first. So I probably do want instant in that case. After another operation in real time may have an earlier system time. Consequently, comparing two system time instances to learn about the duration, I think we probably do want instant. Or no, actually no, this is not what we want. I think it is going to be system time. I think instant is just going to be Is there always guaranteed? It has been no less than any previous measurement. Is there a way to format that then? Rust format time. Date of format. Yeah, chrono is an option. This is true. This time is hard. Time is very hard in programming full stop. You can find countless YouTube videos about how difficult. Hey, Meso4U. Yes, I'm building a job tracker to track applying for jobs. And I'm currently working on the logging aspect of that. And it's being built in Rust with the framework being Dioxys. And I'm currently struggling with the fact that time formatting is difficult. I would quite like to not use an additional crate, but sometimes it's just easier. Chrono's fine. I've used this in the past. It's probably overkill, as are most things, to be fair. But we just need to be able to get the time in a sensible format. I remember why I only think that chrono time is fine now, which is that it has this concept of dates and times. Hey, Bonjian. Time as a concept in general is the worst. It absolutely is. My favorite thing is that every so often we get a leap second. That we don't talk about that. But it is extremely important in, again, anything on the internet can be impacted by the leap second, just because it might suddenly disagree about the time with a nearby server and cause all sorts of frustrations. And different companies have different ways of dealing with it. Some of them inject the second over the entire day, like slightly incrementing their clocks, and other people just like add an extra second at the end of the day. It's all very wild. And that's not even getting into the fact that I recently discovered that UTC only goes back so far. I don't even think it goes back to 1970. There's something really weird about how UTC works, and it starts on this particular date, and everything before then is not UTC compliant. There was a really good talk on Rust in Space at Rust Nation in London this year, which talks about clocks and how UTC is not actually that scientifically useful. Anyway, sorry, I do tend to ramble on. Here we go. This is what we care about. We want to get a new date. We will care about the system time, so there's probably a way to do that. I think, did we see that somewhere in one of these? I bet it was here. Oh, sorry, this one. Yeah, I think this is entirely fine, right? So let's just go get chrono. Let's just get chrono. Sometimes you've just got to say, let's not worry about it. Oh, yeah, I got distracted. It has dates and times and date times in chrono, but it also has naive dates and naive times. And the reason is that those come without a timestamp. It's not even like UTC as a timestamp. It just has no timestamp, which is really useful, but also really challenging to work around. So local should have come in from chrono. It did. That should give us, I don't think that's the format that we want though. I think we do want to go down to as deep a level as possible in terms of like microseconds or whatever. Sorry, I got back on core here. Don't know how that, I must have done something while I was moving around. Docs, and there's probably a more sensible way of doing it than just this. Yeah, here we go. Probably that is the format that I would like, this RC3339. it's still not maybe accurate enough. I would like to go down to less than a second. Let's see. Time format. Oops, time format. Standard. Less than a second. This is unlikely to include it. ISO 8601. Let's see. So the time parts, durations, just down to a second, it looks like. Time intervals, no, that's between dates. So that's probably not what we want. That's only going to be 1 second. We could cheat. You know what? I'm gonna go back to let's not worry about it. We would like to do dots. What did I say? It was RFC 3339. I think that's probably all right. Move that from there to here. And we would like to file extension, I think, as a... No, that gets the extension. Okay, so probably the easiest way to do that is spell things correctly. Okay. Is that silly? So even though I'm going to write JSON to it, the file itself won't actually be JSON because each new entry in it will be its own JSON object. So it's not even going to be an array of objects. It's just going to be broken up in lines. We'll come back to that later. And again, I'm not going to be too concerned. If this bit breaks at this point, it's probably not a lot of point in continuing. So let's go back to what we were looking at over spoilers and spoilers and spoilers. Everyone's just gonna go back and look at those later. The video will be up later. It's fine. You guys don't need to worry about it. Sorry, it was all spoilers for the next Iris video. What was I just doing? So yes, this is going to create layers, and then we register the layers and initialize it. So I suspect... So format just seemed to jump to... Format JSON. Okay, let's just go through it slowly. That wasn't what I wanted. Just probably want to copy this real quick. So layer. I am going to specify the. Okay, look, this is format layer dot JSON. Go on, be nice. There we go. With writer. Log file. I know I've called two things log file. We'll come back to that in a second. This is sad because the kind of infer type of parameter s declared on the function. I think this might be okay if we do a oh, it was default. My goodness. I cannot hold too many things in my head at once. I know it's called, well, let's just rename that. We just call it file layer. This will be the only file layer, but I want to also include, this time we will import that. I want to add an additional layer that will log anything else that we actually care about. So in this case, we want, I believe we can do max log. Hi, Vincent. I seem to hop in 30 minutes after the start every time. Don't worry about it. It's mostly me rambling for 30 minutes, you know, and the next 2.5 hours probably. But good to see you again anyway. I thought there was a max level with max level. Okay. So actually it's going to be with min level, I think, in this case. And then I assume there's probably log level. Oops. So what should we have? Let's say wands should go in here. This is still upset. Exists for this, but its trait bounds were not satisfied. Bit confused. Wouldn't be something as stupid as that, would it? Wishful thinking there. Okay, let's go to the documentation, see how they use it in here. So they use it only write output for events at or above the verbosity, which is, that's what we want it to do. Events whose level is less verbose than level will be ignored. No output will be written. That's fine. However, they've got theirs immediately after. Wait, with writer. Sorry, hang on a minute. No, level. Let's see what might be hidden in here. Yeah, use tracing. Oh, tracing level. That's not what we're using. I think we might have brought in log level. So let's do. That's going to be. If it's not re-exported, we need to find another way of bringing that in. So tracing is obviously we haven't included that as a dependency. I was hoping with min level, tracing core. Let's see if we can get that. Tracing. I suppose they've got they do actually have a prelude, but it's also not in here. So how do we get it then? That's where I find out that it's not that's the issue, isn't it? Tracing core level. Ah, no, it actually is. So I don't use this very often. Let's try it this way. I've lost my position. So level is part of metadata. Could be just accessible. This is probably also not supposed to be the way that we. So, okay, tracing core. No, hang on a minute. We don't care about that. What we care about is. I legitimately am unsure. No. Okay, let's just go back and look at the information in the documentation here. We might just need to bring in tracing for this one reason, which would kind of suck. Why do they import it that way? Okay, gonna go with a let's not worry about it again. Oops. Tracing. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that this works. Watch this not be the issue. It is still not the issue, is it? Does not exist for layer. Oh no, it does exist for layer, but its trade bounds were not satisfied. Okay, so none of that was the reason. I think log is fine. I'm going to go back to using that. Because I suspect underneath these are probably numbers. They are. I'm almost certain that's going to be the case with this one as well. Let's just triple check though. Oh, interesting, it's not. Okay, well, let's come back to it. Let's work out what's actually wrong with the types. So, not satisfied is required. So it needs to be a make writer. Could you up the sound level a little? Oh, I can maybe. It should be this one. It is not. How about now? Did that make any difference? I think I'm actually. Oh, I'm peaking a little bit there. Let me just check OBS and see what that says as well. OBS is already set to max levels. I think it's going into the red. Let me just up it a tiny bit. We'll just keep an eye on that. Hopefully that sounds a bit better. Secondary sound level here that was like, okay. Okay, I will turn it down a little bit. I am still very new at this, so I don't really know what I'm looking for in these sorts of things. I'm trying not to make it too loud. I'm trying to keep the music quiet. Let's see. Sorry, what was the... So it's required by that. The following bounds were not satisfied, which is required. Is that not the same type? Make writer. Oh, make writer X'd. So usually error as viewer. Yeah, I guess if I when I get to the point where I have more stream viewers, people will be able to tell each other what they if there is a general issue, it'll be a bit easier. But I think right now we have 10 people watching, which actually is I feel very good about, to be honest. I don't know why 10 people would watch me write code. That is really nice. And not everyone wants to talk, and that's perfectly okay. But if you do have feedback, generally, people, please do let me know either in the stream or you can message me on Discord. So, for some reason, make writer I definitely don't understand the issue with this. Although that said, this is probably exactly the thing that I want, right? That I want sort of debug and info written to, well, not to standard out. I want those written to standard error. And then I want my file writer to write to here. This can be combined with this. So is there something I need to know about making an ext? Do I just need to bring it in? I bet it's probably going to end up being something like that. I think that's exactly what it is, isn't it? Because this looks a lot like what we already have. Let's see if just importing this fixes the problem. So if that's the case, oops, you're not supposed to be there. Oh no, we already have that. Okay, so it's not that. So the second two errors here, these two are just basically saying that the reference and mutable reference types for this also aren't satisfied. So we need to make it be a make writer. Oh, maybe. No, it wouldn't be that stupid, would it? I mean, it could be. No. Make writer. Do you know what? I think let's not worry about it. This was fine up until that point. So let's just see if this bit works. We don't need this anymore, I don't think. But we do need to call configure logging. And we'll just see what happens. We can iterate over it and work out what's working and what's not. So we did not get our log output, but that might be okay because we should be able to get... Let's really grab. Okay, let's cancel that a second. Oh, well, let's leave it there. Just move out of the way. And drop V. No, I think there might be missing something with my keyboard. Okay, fine. Let's just go back to. I think at some point as well. Sorry, this is a slight aside. I probably will add links to these directories somewhere in the app. So that should now output the directory so I can find it. And then I can just open. It won't work though because there's a space in it. So I can do that. And here is that directory. Hopefully there's nothing else too concerning that's showing. And we've got some outputs. So that should be the most recent one. What have we got here? That looks like legitimate errors. Probably from when we were mucking around with it still turned on. So this is the latest one that is currently being written to. And we have creating stores, which is what we want. Second error is not an error. This is a trace, which is registering server functions. So yeah, I do still kind of want to fix the log levels. Really, I don't want this in everything. Oh, okay. Let's go back to here. Can I do? No, I can't do it here. This is very weird. I'm not really sure. Very out of my depth on this one. Return to make writer. That's this is part of the only requirement on it is that it's sized, which I think it's safe to assume it probably is. So this is going to be a trait, I think, right? So we've got the trait make writer ext, and then this is returning okay. So this is returning a struct, which itself contains a make writer, I suspect. Huh. It contains nothing. I guess okay, so oh, right. So This is a quite a this is smart. It's quite a lax builder pattern. So I suspect what's happening is that only certain things can construct this type. These fields aren't public, so you need something that has access to the entirety of this to construct it for you. And undoubtedly, with max level is probably the only function that can return the struct with max level. So they assume that nothing else can construct it. Therefore, it's absolutely fine, and they're right, for it to have no type guards on this. And this probably implements the make writer ext itself. Blanket implementations, no. Trace implementations, make writer, there you go. So this implements make writer. I didn't think that, have I gone round in circles a little bit? Oh, okay, make writer is also trait, so that makes sense. Hey 891, how's it going? Oh, where's my face gone? I think something's just crashed. No signal. Okay, give me a minute. Let's work this out. Okay, so the problem is, it is literally, okay, so Vincent says blow on it like a Nintendo cartridge. Oh yeah, okay, so 891 spotted it as well. So The Curious Library and The Curious Library is my partner's YouTube channel. We use a Sony camera. It's a cute little device. I really like for its price range, it gives, I think, quite nice colors. You'll have seen like there's a little bit in the middle of Iris where all the colors look a bit funny. It's because I tried to be smarter than I actually am and tried doing raw footage on it, which I was not good enough to do. I blame 891 for that. I don't really. I really wanted to try it out. Anyway, the big downside to this one camera is it does have a habit of overheating, and it's actually been on all day. So I've switched to my webcam, which is at a slightly different angle. So you now can't see my ramen picture. Yeah, I mean, you can barely see it normally, to be honest. I mean, I'm trying to show it off a little bit this time because I actually did finally get the LEDs to work. Although, oh no, I thought one was out, but it's just where the clips are. Never mind. Luckily, I do blame my tools all of the time. However, because I am both a terrible workman and also a very smart one, I also always have backups. So we're now onto my webcam, and I will check it again in about half an hour to see if the camera's cooled down enough to actually deal with it. So where was I at? Let's jump back to, hopefully this all still works. I'm now no longer, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Hang on a second. Oh, that is not going to work. Okay, well, I'll just be slightly off camera, I'm sure. 8 cameras. I have 2 set up. I technically have a third on my laptop, but I really hope I don't have to fall back on that. I also actually have multiple microphones set up just in case as well, because I am like that. Anyway, one day I'll have a job again and I'll buy a different camera. I have one picked out, which again my camera expert friend 891 thinks I am ludicrous for wanting, but still. Overheat turned into a flex. Well, I mean, you know, we've got 2 YouTube channels sharing a very cheap camera, so yeah. It is mad overkill, but I don't know, I just really like it. I think the main thing that I really like is the ability to just plug in a RJ45 and stream straight to a proper computer somewhere. There are other things that are quite nice about it as well. The 6K resolution, for example. Yeah, it's very okay. I know it's overkill. I just like it. It's pretty. Exactly. I just want it. Where were we? What on earth were we doing? We were trying to work out how Make Writer works, because I am utterly lost as to why we cannot just do with max lock level here. With max level. So this already gives us the issue. Is it a problem with JSON? I don't think so. So is it a problem with layer? That'd be weird, right? Let's try dropping layer out for a second. Pretty sure JSON exists right here as well. Was that not where it existed? Oh my goodness, I've gone around in circles. You did just spend that much money on a new microphone. It does sound good though. I've listened to your streams. you're completely silent one, and then you're good one. Also, with microphones are a bit different, because microphones, we've kind of peaked on the technology. It's not like you're going to get more bits of depth from the microphone itself, at least. Maybe from the what's the thing called? The amp might be able to, or whatever, the thing that turns it into. Yeah, and I also agree with that. When you so 891 says mics are the most important bit early. So if you are going to do a new YouTube channel or something like that, microphone is the one thing that you should like try and get a somewhat decent one. There are offers all the time. I have quite a nice one that I did not spend the full amount on. I think I spent half of what 891 just said, and I like it. Anyway, it's a good place to start, and then worry about cameras and stuff later. And that's why, you know, the camera that the Curious Library and I are using it is about as cheap as you can go while being an actual camera. It's still like a what is it, APC? It's like a, you know, a smaller what is the thing that captures the light called? My brain. APS-C, yes, thank you. It's the size of the sensor. So it's not full frame. It's thank you both. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Brain. I can't even remember the word for sensor, and I'm trying to expect to get this working. Let's see. Format JSON. Is that actually what we need to do? Or maybe it is. Super 35, the bestest. It's Super. Is APS-C is the same size as Super 35? Is it? I think there's more to why people love Super 35 than just its size, arguably. With max level, and this is still sad. So. Near enough. DOF profile. Okay, I have no idea what a DOF profile is. I'm way outside of my depth. Did I close? Might be going slightly crazy here. Was I not just looking at tracing subscriber? Very confused. With it, Vincent, the people chatting in chat is not frustrating at all. I'm delighted that people are having a good time. And I also would like to be better at cameras, but I am not. Should we see if the other one goes back on? Let me just... There we go. It's a bit zoomed out. We'll go around and fix it later if we need to. And yeah, please don't shut up. Please talk about whatever you like. Like I said, I do want to get into cameras, and that's a little bit of why I fell in love with the Pixis 6K is the one I'm looking at. It's very expensive. I do not have the money for it, but I do quite like the look of it. Oh, although I will say, so capitalism. 891 knows he can get me to going with this. I will say that the Pixis, one massive downside for it is that it is made by the same people who make DaVinci Resolve, which is part of the reason that we're doing this whole thing on logging right now. So there is that to bear in mind, I guess. Anyway. I'm still stuck with this, so... I mean, let's just try standard error. Let's see if that works. BMD profiles. That's not what we want. Was it not format? Was it IO? I bet this doesn't exist on the features that we've done. It does not. Oh, wait, what? Oh. Hang on a second. With max level, takes self of what? I have a really weird feeling. This would be ridiculous, right? This would be if it takes a file that is writer. No. We're doing level 1. Okay, so that's fine. I think we can probably... Oops. What did it say? Tracing core. I don't think we can access tracing core, so that's going to be a problem, which means that we probably will need... We will need to bring in tracing. That's fine. Never mind. Okay. This time we've got it, I think. Oh, that's ludicrous. No, hang on. It's still not working. Is not satisfied. Why are you sad as well? Not found. Why? Why this? It's is it in pub enum? No, you should be able to access that. Have I just brought in more things than I should have done? I bet that is probably it. Yep, that is exactly it. Okay, so that error's gone away. This is sad because... What did we have in here a minute ago? With writer, with... It's... Oh my goodness. I think I've gone about this. This is the fun of Rust. I think this is the fun of just my brain not working the way that I think that it probably needs to in order to really deal with some of this. I think what I need to do here is... What did we have a second ago? Let me just copy this. Go backwards. How far back are we going? Are we still going back? Yep. I want that thing that we had a minute ago. Okay, nearly there. So this is, I think, what we actually want. I believe... How silly is this? And I believe that that will be there again. So, okay, I am going to say I think this is an issue with the library personally. It's just not the way I would like this to be. So I believe this creates the layers. This registers the layers in order to receive the events that are happening, and this creates the writer. So that we're saying in here that this writer should receive anything that is 1 or above. I will come back to times you write your own library, not for logging, good grief. Maybe it's just a conceptual thing for me. I feel like the layer should be what has the max level, not the thing that is being written to. But maybe there is a reason for this. Because, like, why make the layer JSON if the writer is what receives the level? That feels very backwards, because this is like the intermediate level. This is the end. So we've got the thing that captures the event, the thing that deals with where the event is going to, and the thing that actually writes the event. If anything, I would say that this and this should probably be the other way around. Maybe. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. I think we're there. Because this is starting to boggle my mind a little bit, what I'm going to do is create one more little extra tab over maybe, well, it'll just be in this list that will be sort of support, or no, not support, it's already there, help maybe. Let's stop this from running again because it's going to get a bit frustrating. So that we can jump to that specific location that we're currently debugging out. So I wonder if this is const. It's not. Okay, we will not worry. Oh no, of course it can't be const. That makes sense. So we will do a fn get directories, get project directory. The reason being that we are going to use this multiple times. That's scary that it knows that that's probably what I want. It's not going to be an option though. It's actually not going to be any of that. I don't know why. I just trusted. Okay, AI, you've let me down again. You know what I should have done? So this is a nice trick in IntelliJ, is we can do a introduce extract method and then just call that create or get project directories. Directory. Okay. Don't know where I put that. Over here for some reason. Let's just move that up. I'm just going to plop it here. I probably need to break. So you can see that there's a bit of a mess going on here because some of this stuff is to do with startup. So we've got our configure login, create the stores. Stores, by the way, need a lot of work. If anyone's actually looked at the code for this, I'm just not at all happy with it. So I will come back to that at some point, but it works for now. So I'll leave it. I think there's a bunch of stuff I want to change around how data gets passed around inside the application, basically. Anyway, we also have like main CSS up here because right down at the bottom, we've got the app component, which probably doesn't belong in main.rs, as well as the routing. However, we'll just carry on. Where is routing actually? Routing is currently also in main.rs. Again, probably shouldn't really be there. We will do help here. We're going to create a help components somewhere. So I believe these are our views. So we want to do, oops, mod support, mod help, pub, use, help. I know the song is stuck in my head as well. Use Dioxys, prelude. That'll give us most of the stuff that we actually care about, including the component attribute. And then we can do our, needs to be a pub, fn, help. I mean, this is all getting very out of hand. That's not how we write a function. Good grief. We will use the RSX macro. We'll add a h1 do an h2. I don't know where it gets this stuff from. H2 is going to be actually, maybe it doesn't need a direct. Don't know what that was about. Oh, but I seem to have found the way to only get part of what I wanted. So alt and keys will give me, arrow keys gives me forward and backward in the AI nonsense. I think I'm just going to put this basically. Oh God. Actually, let's go. Let's project directory equal, and then I think we can do that. So I never made this function public. The reason that it's fine for us to use it up here is because this is the top level. So all modules inside of this module, actually, it doesn't even matter that it's the top level. If you have a module with private stuff in it, any module inside that module does have access to it. So it's okay for us to use it directly here. And then we can do, let's just put some text in here. Job tracker directory, and yeah, we need the href. The href is going to be, that's also not how we write that. Is that going to work? I think probably not. Have I missed something here? No, that's right. So we get that okay, I need this bit as well. Oh, no, I don't. Wait, do I? Oh, gosh. Data dir, I think I do need this bit. And this is going to give us a path buff, which is more sensible, a lot more sensible. So no longer need, oh, wait a minute, that gives me a path. Okay, so that's fine. Path buff is the owned version of path. So in order to return it, I'm going to need it to still have access to the data underneath. However, this means that we get to get rid of basically all of this. I can get rid of this now, hopefully, because that's exactly what we're about to solve. So now I can do dots to, actually to struct should be fine. Or can I, would this even work? Is display, so the question is, yeah, I was going to say, is display implemented for path buff? It is not. So not sure on the best way of turning this into a string. Now, the reason that it's a difficult issue is because string is not the same as a path. Path will give us an, will give us an OS string though, right? As OStra. That'll do. I can probably drop all of this. I really only care about the fact that it implements display now. So dine no does not exist for that. Ugh. Okay, but we probably can do this now. I think. No. Oh, a string doesn't implement display. Okay, fine. In that case, toString lossy is probably going to be as close as we care to do. Unless cow is copy and write. Value drop while borrowing. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, copy on write maybe not the right thing to do here. That'd be very silly if that were the case. Temporary value is freed. Oh, right. Yeah. I think I can shadow it, though. Can I not? Yeah. Okay, so this is weird. Basically, what it was upset about is when I was chaining these two together, the OS-stra or the path buff that's in here that contains the data is not attached to any variable, so it goes basically immediately out of scope. Copy on write contains a reference to this data that has immediately gone out of scope. However, by doing this instead, we're putting the path buff into this variable, and this does not replace this variable. Maybe that's the wrong terminology. It doesn't remove this bit from memory. This stays right here. It's just that now you won't be able to access that specific variable anymore because we just changed it into a cow. But this is now referencing data that has not been gotten rid of. So now this should work. Touch wood. And it seems to be happy with copy on write for this as well. And I suspect that's probably because copy on write implements Astra or maybe deref toStra. That's an interesting one. I'm going to just look that up actually. Do copy on write. Implements deref. So it will deref toStra basically, which means that you can then use anything inside of it. It's not ideal. None of this is ideal. The reason that it's as lossy here, toString lossy, the reason for this is that it's possible that the operating system's concept of what a path is includes characters that are not UTF encoded or encodable, which means that toString lossy will in fact just drop them. So we could actually do, I think toString will return a result or not. What does this do then? Returns the results of the operation without modifying the original. Oh, that's not what we care about, sorry. Yields a string slice if the path is valid Unicode. So yeah, basically that's what I was saying. So in this case, it may or may not be valid Unicode. In this case, we're just going to ignore anything that isn't. It's fine. It's fine. It's basically suggesting here that, like, what if this O, in fact, does that O look very slightly different? So when we turn it back into Unicode, because the path didn't have, or might have returned, had the path contained invalid Unicode. It's not very likely. It's not impossible, but it's not very likely. So I think I'm just going to not worry about it. The href for this is going to be, I don't know if this is going to work, but it'll be fun finding out, right? And I'm really just hoping this opens it up in Finder and not in the browser, because that'd be painful. Why are you sad? Used after being moved. Okay. Tell you what. Oops. It's right here. It's right here. Like, so don't know why that's suddenly sad. Probably doesn't matter. Should get rid of all of this. Actually might be able to just call this href, in fact. So format won't consume this, so we still have it left over. Let's leave a little break there. No idea if this will work. Nope. Not found in this scope. I probably didn't import it, that's probably why. Views, home, help, and oh, did I not pub use it? I did not pub use it. Oops, pub use. You're doing data in JSON right now and scared of ZealotDB. I have no idea what Zealot slacked off ZealotDB. Did I play with ZealotDB? I was playing with, I played with SurrealDB, and that wasn't actually a problem with Surreal. I think it was just an issue with the lock files not closing when Dioxys closed or something like that. It was a mild issue. Anyway, build failed, build completed, so I think that's probably fine, but I'm not seeing our tab up here, so I must have missed something else. Like here. Can't see what I'm doing. That's a good start though. Oh, talking of not Unicode characters, we had one there. I don't know if you caught that. Just rebuild there. Is your thought process just experience? I'm just learning at the moment, so totally amazed by it. I don't know. That's a really good question. I have no idea why I am the way I am. I think some of it, yeah, like some of it is just, is this compose or native? This summer, I'll come back to you in a second. So answer Vincent's question. I think some of it is experience, but I don't have the right experience. So, like I know Rust reasonably well. I know Dioxys reasonably well, but I don't know how to do desktop applications. So this is that aspect of it is fairly new to me, which is why I'm sort of fussing around with weird logging to files and stuff. Whereas I'd normally just log straight to standard out, and there would be no question about it because I'd be running a pod somewhere, and standard out would be where I need to write the logs in order to pick them up on some other service. Osama, is this compose or native? I'm actually not sure what the compose or native means. If you're talking about the RSX stuff, so in Rust, when you see like an exclamation mark like this, desktop is way more fun. Yeah, sure. When you see an exclamation mark after some text, what it actually is a macro. And macros allow you to write and I'm sorry, I'm just guessing here on what exactly you meant by compose or native. So the macros basically allow you to write things that aren't Rust, but will get turned into Rust in the background using this quite complex methodology. I'm probably going to do macros for Iris. I'm starting to doubt whether I'm going to do unsafe, actually. There are different kinds of macros as well, so I'm only going to do what's called macro rules, which is how you can define a macro inside of an application. I'm not going to do proc macro, which is how you write things like component here. This is a proc. This will be written as a proc macro or an attribute. But that requires messing around with the abstract syntax tree. So I hope that answers your question. Tauri I have not looked at properly. I have a feeling Dioxys used to use Tauri in the background, but it appears to not anymore. So that's quite interesting. I think, sorry, 891 says, no, legit, I much prefer it in reference to desktop versus web. I know that they've done both. I don't know how I feel about desktop UIs. At the moment, this is a really weird sort of like pseudo, it's still like a web interface type thing. I don't really know what they're doing in the background here, and I don't think this is necessarily the right way to do this at all. Oh, right. No, this isn't Android Studio. Jetpack Compose or Android native app, but it's desktop app. Yeah, it is a desktop app. I don't know. So you can build Android apps in this. What's going on there? So we've got like this mobile thing here. I have not touched it yet. So you can build mobile apps in Dioxys. Again, it's going to be a web view, just like everything else is. I don't have a clue how it works. Like, in all honesty, I'm not, I don't know. I'm not a young man anymore, and I don't care as much how the underlying technologies work. I've done my time as a, as a junior mid-level engineer writing my own frameworks and things. I think I'm probably done with that now. And I'm like, if it works, I'm fine with it. As you're probably getting from the start of the stream where I'm like, I have no idea, but this works. So I'm just going to leave it. Vincent skipped been desktop since the 90s. Oof. Never seriously. Oh, I have to scroll back up again. One sec. Never serious though. That's being old age. I mean, desktop since the 90s is pretty good. I think I was at school, but I think I was getting into web in the 90s, but I never actually intended to go into web as a career. I just sort of fell into it because I actually wanted to go into video games. When I was doing my master's in video games, by the way, doing a master's, not a brag, it was just my degree wasn't worth anything, so I ended up having to do a second one. During that time was when there was the whole like EA spouses controversy where people were writing, I never see my partner because they work for EA and they're working 90 hours a week. And I was like, maybe I don't want to do that after all. So that's how I sort of ended up in web instead. It is, I don't think this is fair, but it is also better money. Like a lot of my friends who did that course and then went into games tech, chatting to them, I'm just like, I don't think like they're much smarter people than I am, and they're doing much smarter things with code than I am. And I think that it's a bit unfair that they don't get paid, especially given like the scope and reach of games. I don't know what's going on in the games industry at the moment, but all the money seems to be disappearing. Games tech can pay off long term if you're lucky, yes, because again, some of my friends who are in games tech, they get pretty good royalties. But then some other people I know do not get good royalties, and it's a bit of a thing. But they're probably better engineers. So I think this is an interesting one. Games tech engineers versus web engineers. Now, the gut feeling there is to say, oh yeah, game engineers are doing things with mathematics and stuff that makes them better engineers. But then I don't, like, for me, software engineering isn't necessarily about that. And it really depends on the kind of software that you're writing, because building for the web and building for video games or building for the desktop, they're all like really different, and what is important becomes different. So for things like the web, and I was like, desktop has gone a bit this direction-y, but it's more about sort of being able to scale in terms of things like features more than it is about specifically performance. And I think we all, those of us who've been around for a little while, old man here, will have seen that like performance is atrocious these days. You've got applications that don't do much more than their equivalent in the 90s used to do, but somehow take longer to start up on machines that are 200 times faster. It's insane. So there are definitely issues with that. But at the same time, if you are in the business of making money, then maybe it doesn't matter too much as long as you can sell the next copy of your software. And I know the channel ManyLearn has talked about this as a issue where companies just like shoehorn in features, even if they're not good, just to boost the value of the company, which is a whole issue. Z is blazingly fast. I haven't played with any of the sort of Z editor. What am I thinking of? What's the C-like language that begins with a Z? Zig. I think it's Zig. Oh no. Vincent's going to get 891 started on Helix, which is, to be fair, 891 has got me interested in Helix, but I'm not going to jump to it for streams, and I probably don't have the time to play around with it much outside of them either, but never mind. Anyway, we have the help tab, and this opens in the browser, which is not what I want. So let's see. I've made 891 very excited. I think you probably have indoctrinated me already. I just need the time to get into it. I do really like the bindings. I think it does make sense that they're kind of reversed from Vim, which actually kind of makes me want to see if I go in here. There are already Vim bindings in here, so it makes me wonder: are there Helix ones? No, no, that is the wrong Helix. We don't talk about that Helix. Ugh. Sorry, I'm being a snob. And I'm not restarting my AD for those. Work in progress. Helix. Yeah, I think I do want to. I think I want to learn it. It just looks nice to not have to take my hand off to do clicky things. Anyway, Dioxys has a library underneath, so I think it's like escaping Dioxys. Breaking out of Dioxys, here we go. And then in here, this basically talks about how to get to things that aren't Dioxys from inside Dioxys. So your normal thing here, I'm just like eyeing the chat at the same time. I would be very excited if there was a Helix plugin for IntelliJ. I think that would be my happy place. Although I know that the Vim one does tend to mess with the actual IntelliJ binding, so I guess we'll see. Anyway, breaking out Dioxys, this chapter of the documentation talks about basically how to get to the underlying stuff. So normally you'd be building Dioxys stuff, or maybe not normally in that way, but often you'd be building Dioxys stuff for actual browsers, in which case you may want to access web APIs. Now, I've played with this, and this does not work on WebSys. Just straight up doesn't work inside of whatever the desktop is building. So I think there is another thing that you can use that isn't WebSys. It's something different. See, this is doing a document eval, and we do not want to do that. Let's jump to the proper documentation. I think there's like there's a re-export. One of these includes something called... Oh, this is going to bug me now. Signals document history, HTML. I would have thought it'd be in HTML. Logger web router, full stack. Window size. This is probably going to get us closer. I think there is some window build. Ah, wait, when was this? Three years ago. I'm not sure they use Tau anymore. Ah, here we go. Okay, they do. So you want to leverage... Oh, look, it does still use Tauri. Rai and Tau. Directly, an upcoming release of Dioxis Desktop will include components and hooks for notifications. Okay, so we do have the re-exports of Rai and Tau. So maybe this is where we need to be. I would like to... I want to open Finder from Dioxis. What would we call that? I don't know. Since we know we can get to Tauri, we can just do open Finder. Sure, someone's asked for this. Show in Finder Explorer. Shell.open. Yada yada yada. It's Rust commands, not Tauri. That would work. I don't know what the Linux version would be. Since I don't have a Linux desktop, I've not touched it at all on there. Okay, what we can do, let's just copy these for a second. Doesn't look like anyone came back. I mean, I'm skimming. I am not. Show file. Oh, well, that could be nice. So if we were to do it this way, I think this seems like a sensible-ish way to do it. Show path in file manager is almost certainly what we want. Let's just go with it. Installing so many extra crates in this. I feel like professional me would be very disappointed in myself. Okay, hang on. Before we jump ahead, let's get some stuff committed in. Conflict. Oh no, this is from the previous one. Don't worry about that. This should have been two things. I shouldn't be including this really, but I think I cannot. Oops, go away. Ooh, huh. I probably actually can just not include that stuff. That's nice. Let's close you again. This is all fine. I think that'll be okay. There we go. Add feet. Very basic logging added. I haven't actually checked whether all that new stuff works. That's why I jumped to the other thing, but we'll see. So that's going up to feet logging. That's fine. And then we're going to add in this new stuff. We won't add that in just yet because it doesn't work. So let's jump into here. Now we need what it was called show file. I love how we have all these different crates that I brought in, and only 2 of them have got over version 1, and one of those is on version 6, which means that it's broken its compatibility at least 5 times so far. Doesn't matter. So what I would like to do now is in Dioxis there's a thing called use callback. Should work. So we're not going to do the href. We're actually going to do an on click. Let's oops. See, what did I do? We can take that out entirely because we actually already have what we need right here. So let callback equal use callback. We are, oh, interesting. I think show path in file manager. This is going to be a little bit insane. Project directory. And change that to on click. Thanks for coming, Vincent. Really glad to see you again. And this doesn't work because not sure. Because on click's not a thing. Nope, it's fine with that. Oh, because of the event data. I'm not using event data, that's why. So the click would come with event data, which I do not care about. Project directory has now moved, which is true. This needs to be an asref for path. That's quite funny. So I can now drop that. That now works there. So lastly, interdyn mode doesn't work for path buff. It shouldn't matter. Should it? It shouldn't matter. Oh, yeah. No, it doesn't matter for the on-click. It matters for this bit. So project directory. It's very silly. Are you unhappy about that? Why? Does not live long enough. Yeah, true. Is this actually... No, it doesn't consume self. That's odd. I mean... I think that won't be happy either because the... Okay, that's fine. Yeah, this makes sense. So it's unhappy because I'm creating a callback that could be sent anywhere, but it relies on this existing. If I were to do move, then we would lose the, we wouldn't be able to use it afterwards, so that's no good either. Callback is borrowed. Okay, let's not do any of that then. Let's have a think about this. So at the moment, I've mostly been using clone for stuff like this, which is probably not the best way of doing this. How are we doing on time? Yeah, I can go for another hour and a bit. I should have a drink though. And I've not celebrated my Patreon, so let me have a drink and celebrate my Patreons. Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't realize the shroud from the thing was blocking the camera. Okay, let's think about this. So we need a reference to be passed through all of this. This is going to be an FN, I think. Yeah, this is an FN, so it shouldn't. really matter. FN mute, why? I mean, that's curious as well, isn't it? It's also weird that this is taking the entire path buff. I think maybe we're not getting past this error, so I need you to be FN once. How do I force that to be the case? Not like that, apparently. I mean, it should be taking, oops, it should be taking the mouse data event, which I don't care about. So why are you still sad? I do always get stuck on this. So there are different types of closure in Rust, which have different ownership requirements. A closure that implements FN mute trait, but this. So I don't want it to be FN mute. It shouldn't be changing anything. So, okay, so it's because it takes ownership, I think. But this won't then last long enough. Oh my goodness, thank you for pointing that out. Okay. Thanks for watching. I am struggling with the fact that this needs to be an FN once and not an FN mute. I think it was getting FN mute because I was passing in ownership of project directory, which means that it, like, because it owns it, it can mutate it. So I think that's probably why it was a bit sad about that. But I can't pass in a reference either, because the callback like this function here could last longer than this does. It's a bit of an odd one. Okay, you're fine with that. No, you're not, right? You are fine with that. So then I don't need you. Now everything is unhappy. Oh my word, thank you for letting me know. Okay. At least now that I know which button to press on my thing to get to the backup camera. Not having a lucky stream today. Project directory. Thank you for being vocal on chat and letting me know all the various problems. Closure may outlive the current function, but it borrows callback. I don't care. You're unhappy because this makes this function FN mute. Oh my word, how have I done this elsewhere? I feel like I go around in circles on this. So I've definitely... Okay. I mean, it makes sense to do that. But you're still unhappy. Why? Nothing in here requires mutability. Which is funny because roles resource does right there. Oh. Wow, I don't think this makes any difference. So flags, so these ones where we've got the resource.restart. So this is how I was getting around some of the issues I was having with refreshing the page. So back over, oh, I shouldn't have closed it, I can't open it again. For example, where there are the flags and it's got the list of flags, I use resource to asynchronously look up what the flags are. This lets me, so components can't be async, despite the fact that they all exist within an async application. The component itself cannot be async. This probably makes sense. It would stop. It means that you can render things immediately, basically. So what happens with use resource is that it will fire this off asynchronously. Eventually this will update because the answer came back, and then it will continue, like it will then go through and do all the things that it couldn't do before because it wasn't set up. The reload flags callback here basically just hits the restart on the resource, which will eventually return whatever it got from calling the get flags for company again. So this is very frustrating because this actually does need to be mutable in order for it to work. But this takes a restart here, takes a mutable reference rather than. So could I do something really stupid? I mean, I really don't want that to be the answer. Why didn't that work? As path is probably the. Oh, that's. I do not know why that is the case. So. Or do I? So let's think this through. I think this is interesting to think through. So we couldn't do this because this makes it FN mute, right? Which we can't pass an FN mute into use callback. I can't do this. Okay, never mind. I can do that. Let's just leave it as that then. What did we have elsewhere? Let's do project. I don't know. This is driving me very slightly up the wall. This is effectively going to allocate a bunch more memory. That's not how we write that. And then in order to make that work, we just change that for that. That can't possibly be right. Closure may outlive the current function, but it borrows callback. That's entirely the purpose of callback, though. I could use signal. I'm sure the entire point of callback is for it to be passed elsewhere. Reload rolls is passed into here, where it is a callback. And I'm pretty sure it's called in here, reload rolls. So it is indeed passed away. So why does it care in this case? That's not how we use it. Oh. Would this work? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. Oh my god. I've got logs by mistake somehow. Oh, no, we haven't. No, we haven't. That's just opened up Finder. It is opened. It opened up application support, which is not the directory we need. So I've made a mistake somewhere. Actually, did it tell me in the application? Whoa. Well, that's concerning. Maybe the issue is in our logs. Nope. Most of our logs are empty as well. We probably want to work out a way to not write the file if we're not going to use it. Sorry, let me just show you that. So before I delete it, we can see that most of these contain nothing. Last one to contain something was, oh no, it wasn't this one, but it was close by. So let's just delete these. Is that not? There we go. Let's look at, let's reopen this. Help. So it didn't open the correct directory, and it also immediately crashes. Ooh, I wonder if that's going to be an issue with this logging thing has backfired in the most hilarious way, in simply that we do not get the log of what actually went wrong. That's quite funny to me. Okay, let's think. What else can we do? This wasn't happening before I brought in this crate. So let's just delete that for a second. Let's go back to help. Let's not do this. We will go back to having an href for now. Don't need. So this is what we had earlier. It's not great. Don't know where that came from. Don't need that. Ah. That probably won't work either because it's going to be moved. Let's extract this as a variable. Introduce variable. Oh, this is what we had before, isn't it? There's definitely value to be had in not making much of an effort, isn't there? So if I open this, just copy that. So we get here. This is what we see. So it's not, it basically loads it up in the browser. It's not what I want really. We do get the logs, which are obviously empty. That will be worth looking at. So while we are on it, let's just make some issues for some of these things, because we've still got an hour to go and I want to do one other thing. So I want to make sure this, I don't know for definite that it would appear in here. Let's just do it this way around. Add item, project directory opens in browser, should open in Finder Explorer. The one way we could get around this is, oh, excuse me. Start with that. One way we could get around this is where we were looking at that issue earlier, and they had this suggestion, is we could simply, I say simply, I don't trust myself, this is part of the problem. We could make this two functions called the same thing and then use conditional compilation on them. Should we just try that? This is such a bad idea. Open fn open project directory. Okay, Okay, so now obviously we can't have two things that are called the same. This has come in funny. Don't actually care about this. What we can do is literally call that again. Oops. Kind of wild that I've been trying to justify the fact that Rust has different string types. It has OS string, which I think is what Path might use. Path is kind of Path is to path buff what string slice is to string, but it's just a different encoding. But then when you actually want to use args, it uses a string slice. So now we've got the define multiple times thing, not an issue. So what we would do is go over to conditional compilation, and somewhere in here we can find Mac OS. So we can use target OS as a way to conditionally compile. This will prevent us from compiling for things that are not listed. CFG target OS. Oh, look at that. And it knows we're not doing that, so I wonder if it will correctly identify that we are compiling for macOS. It does indeed. So now that problem goes away. And then we should be able to do on click. That takes a value, and then it's just, what do I call it? Open project directory. Help, click. Interestingly, it only gets as far as application support, which I probably shouldn't have thrown onto the stream just in case. Don't see anything telling in there. There is something called store wallet, but since you can't see what's inside, I'm just going to assume it's fine. Anyway, it only goes as far as application support, which makes me wonder if maybe there's a problem with this space. Because we are throwing it into this like we're basically doing an exec, and then we've got a string with a space in it, which doesn't feel right. So I'm wondering if we do let dir equal format. So what was it? Alt. There we go. So some of this is right. And then I would like to do actually not this. We're going to do a raw string, which I don't really understand, but I use. So I guess that's a thing. That will allow us to basically use string double quotes in here. There are other ways of doing it, I guess, but like I could use backslash, for example. And then I want to do, I'm going to have to do backslash because it's going, so wait, does that work? Should be the number of, hashes rather than the number of quotes. So with luck, that would get us our string slice that we need here. Let's try that on the macOS one as well. It was fine with me doing that because I wasn't doing anything that was getting compiled. It seems happy with that. Let's give it another go. I like how the window's been getting slowly smaller. I don't need that because I do have a Mac. Why are you sad over here? Did I miss something somewhere? I think it's just being slow, right? No, I have done a mistake. I've done a bad... Oh, it's square brackets, right. So, let's fix this again. Help, click. Did not work. I think it's still loading up the other thing. Or not doing anything at all this time. Let's make it a bit more linky. Wow, this time it's not doing anything. What? Oh my goodness, what have I done? Where on earth would you get this string from? Although, I wasn't doing that before, so does this mean... Just gonna borrow this. It seems to be something along the lines that it's like, oops. I think that should work, right? So let's just get rid of the dash R, take that as our only thing. I don't know what the dash R does. Reveal selects in the Finder instead of opening. Okay, that probably is correct then. Where did it get? I feel like I'm going slightly mad. I've paused rebuilding, that's why. How did I do that? I think question mark shows me. Nope. Okay. So that's a little bit frustrating, isn't it? Why would you do this to me? You're supposed to be... But where did... I don't need that anymore. Assuming this is still... Do I need any of this? No, I do, because I need the double quotes around it, don't I? That was the entire problem. Why have we also got a weird slash here as well? Is this... Oh, I bet it's something to do with using the raw string. Okay. We were avoiding this the whole time. Maybe that's just the right way to go. This is going to be something to do with how command works, isn't it? in the current directory of the program. So in the root directory, okay, what if we did what do you take? You take anything that's a path. So I can actually do I don't need this either. I can do that, do that, do that. And that might work. So what I've done here, the madness. Oh, it still doesn't flipping work. I'm at an absolute loss. Okay. Should we not worry about it? It was working a minute ago. Let's just go back to this. And we will leave those in, but we're just going to comment them out. Oops, that's definitely not commented. Annoying, but I suppose probably want to. I'll come back to that one. We've got the ticket already. So the next thing I want to do, assuming this goes now. Yep, okay, so it's back up in my browser. That's fine. Cope. What I wanted to do as the last thing is basically read the logs back into here again. I'm not sure I've got time to do it anymore. Let's see where we get to in the next 45. Let's keep this though. Super professional commit messages. Okay. What was I doing? I think this can probably go in here. So the issue that we're going to have is that we will probably want to get the log messages. I seem to be having a tremendous amount of difficulty with my keyboard today. Logs. And every day, really, I guess. Maybe I just need to not, I don't know, practice. I feel like I've practiced a lot with this. So what I want to do is I want to be able to load the logs up, read them into a, let me think about this. I want to be able to read them into basically a list. Maybe I never needed to make this JSON in the first place. There was a degree to which I was like, you could then display them in a structured way, but they're logs, so maybe they don't need to be. So going under that idea, I think what I will do is just treat them as text for now and have a think about what I actually want to do in the future later. Nonetheless, first things first, I need to get logs. That is so close to right. Maybe I should have gone with it. So I can do don't need you, and then we will import anyhow results. Not gonna let me. do I not have any? I do have anyhow, right? In this scope. Why is... I feel like I'm going mad. Oh. Okay. I mean, we have it in the workspace, so it's not a big issue. Just weird that that's the first time that I'm noticing that we don't have it here. It's fine. So we're just going to go with a vec new because we don't know how many logs we're actually going to have, and it's probably going to reallocate a few times, but it's not the end of the world. We can then do let's logs. Tell you what, now that I know that P is poor, we'll do that. Resource equal get logs. Nope, that's not quite right. Use resource async. That's not quite the right place. So this is an interesting thing. I don't know if you have seen this before. I don't know if I've talked about it before, but you can have an async closure inside of a non-async function, which is a bit weird, but it gets me what I need. And then we'll do a logs dot unwrap, logs resource dot. So unwrap or default here. I've gone wrong again. To actually call it. Well, this will give us an empty vec. I think. Or will it? Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, because it's the result. So what I can then do is map this. Nope. Into it. Map. Don't think should be fine like that, and then I can do RSX, and all I'm going to do is basically give it a load of list items that contain whatever the log is. It's not clever or smart or anything like that. It's dot collect. Again, it's gone a bit weird there. That should be enough. So that gives us a... I didn't need to turbofish operator. I could just do logs equals. Let's just move that out, and we'll do the vec over here. Oh, interesting. I've gone wrong somewhere, haven't I? Because this should be a vector of... Yep, no, that's right. vnodes, perfect. And then finally I can do down here, we will do... I want this to be an ordered list this time, and I'm going to do it in reverse order, hopefully. And then because that's a vnode, we should just be able to write that into here. Okay, slowly getting there. You're sad because expected function found. Did I make a mistake on my import? I have done something wrong here. So I'm not hugely familiar with this, even though I've done it a ton of times in here already. I still need reminding all the time. So we've got our use resource. Oh, did I do that right? I don't need use reactive. Let's just look for another one. Oh, maybe I do need use reactive. This one doesn't use reactive. Let's see. Roles resource. That's odd. So in this case, I'm returning an option because I'm being a bit silly in doing that, basically. Don't really need to do that. Oh, no, maybe I do. Okay, because I'm getting back the result, not the vector. So, is that right? I think that's right. Where am I going? It's fine. What we'll do is we'll just do a... Again, we are still not handling errors really very well at the moment. Into Dyn node. Somehow we have got the... Okay, so I think I just need to do that twice. Bit weird. I've definitely made a mistake somewhere. Not going to worry about it. In that case, I probably don't need this either. Just drop that. I can keep it as an iterator. I don't need to collect it into a vec. Seems happy-ish. Okay. Just say if it reloads. Okay, we haven't obviously loaded anything yet, so that's fine. It's just going to appear down here eventually. So next thing, we need the log directory. That is going to be the project directory with logs on the end. Probably ought to be doing this again somewhere specific, since we now have two places that do like append a string onto the end of this, but not going to worry for now. dir equals this, and then for in. Oops. I think that's probably right. It's okay for, so we're using anyhow, so the question mark operator here will just return the error if there is one. We only care if interesting. We get, why would we get a result with a result? Oh, because each entry may also be one. So I think we can just do yeah, I think that'll be fine. That'll get us the directory entry, and then we can do file.extension. Apparently not. Is file. Type dots. So what I need, okay, I've definitely read files in storage, so let's check there. Store JSON has a bunch of writing files to it. More importantly, it has the reading files. So we have this. This is what I care about. So that's. Oh, that still gets us the same thing. This is quite cool because we're using Tokyo's version. Let's use this basically. This is going to check whether we have the... This is what I was looking for basically. I want to check that we are reading a log file, not like .ds_store. I'm going to include this. It should be created. It should have already been created, but this will just stop us having a really stupid error where we've accidentally made a mistake somewhere. So in this case, the logs dir is what we actually care about, not the base path. Bring those in. We don't care about Serde in this case. So we've got the file data. Should be able to do two. Vec of U8. I think we should be able to do string from lossy, I want to say. That's not how it's spelled, string. UTF-8 lossy. So again, this gives us data. If it could include data that's not UTF encoded, we'll just skip it and not worry too much. This is now upset probably because it wants a reference. We won't be able to, because of the thing we mentioned before where that will make the reference go away, we will need to introduce a variable. So this is going to be raw data. We will pass this in. Now, two things to consider here. Is we would like to, let me think about this. I want to get the lines from the file data. That's not spelled right. So each one of these will represent a log. I'm hoping, yep, it is a double-ended iterator. And then I would like my logs. And is there an append? Self-other, that's not what we want. Rust, consume, vec, consume iterator, vec, end iterator. Probably. Extend, apparently. With the issue being that that is going to be of cows. No way. Come on. Oh, yeah, it's too... this isn't the type that we want. So I think we would need map string from. Gets us our strings. So now the final thing that we probably want to do, which we can't, I really want to reverse the read dir here. Okay, I can't do that. What I could do is not reverse anything to begin with and reverse it all at the end. That will also work, I think. Logs dot reverse. It's mutating itself, so that may or may not work. Get rid of you. Hang on, something's definitely gone wrong here. Oh, yeah, it's just been daft apparently. So we brought in the Tokyo stuff. One nice thing about IntelliJ is when you copy in code from somewhere else, it will recognize that it's you know, a named symbol. It will understand the symbol that you're bringing in, not the text. So it knew, for example, that where I'm using read dir here, it's not using the standard one, it's using the Tokyo one, which is very cool, I think. So then the question is, if we rebuild this, did that work? I'm going to say no, because I've run out of faith. Did we have... We must have had logs, right? Oh, maybe we don't, because the only place that we're currently logging when it's not breaking is in... Not storage, where am I going? Main.rs. Da-da-da. One. And now if I go to help, still nothing. look it through. Let's have a look over here. We've got logs, so I need to run down to the end, and I do see entries in here, so I'm missing something. And I think the best thing we can do is just do a lot of logging, debug logging maybe. Some of the other things I really need to get working on here are, like I really need to learn how to do a debug build of this that I can interact with inside IntelliJ. That would help me a lot. Anyway. Oh. That would be very silly if that's the answer. Huh. Okay. I am all right with that. Let's just check the timestamp. So 2035, 49, 2016, 44. I think we did it. Now, I did have in mind that you'd be able to clear out logs from here. So what we could do, still got a little bit of time left, is add a clear button. So async. Gosh. Async. I've really got to get better at typing. I've been a software engineer for 15 years. I've been at computers for 30. And I cannot type. It's atrocious. Clear logs. I'm even thinking that we don't delete them. I'm thinking, what if we just move them to not be called log anymore? Yeah, I like that idea. We really ought to move this to something more sensible. This is all happening inside of desktop still. I think I'm going to go to here and just call one fn get logs directory. I know it's really not doing very much, but that means that we can replace here. Oh my goodness, I have not even replaced this one to begin with. This is why stuff like this is helpful. Don't care about any of this. Should literally just be that now. Oops. Oops. Log dir. Still unhappy, probably because we're in the middle of changing help, right? That will make that work. Then I probably want a... not an href. A... I'll make it the button. It just is very slightly more sensible, I think. On click. Clear logs. Needs to be a closure. Spawn if async is not implemented. That actually might be fine. Let's have a quick think. Need to trigger it. Doesn't actually have to work though. Does a resource get used, get started before it's called here? Oh. Let's think about... Could I do something really stupid? That would be far too stupid, I'm pretty sure. Expected resource, expected function found resource. It's kind of it though, right? I think that's a dangerous way to go. I'll have a think about that in a minute. Still basically almost entirely the same here, except without the logs vec. Delete that in a second. So you I don't care about. This I care about. None of this I care about. So it should be entry.move. Dot. Path buff. Can use this one again. Rust path buff. Rename. Set file name. I might actually be able to do, set extension instead. Set treat path.set extension logx. That will prevent it from being deleted. I still feel like there's some issues around this. In the I don't want it to create a log if it's not there, and maybe I could just delete it. I don't know. Maybe I should just delete it. Okay. Dioxys, on click, async. Running asynchronous tasks. Running futures with a spawn. Is that their spawn? It is. Okay, that works. Oops. I wonder if it becomes really apparent in the streams, like as I get more tired as the time goes on. This expects a closure, I imagine. Async move. Oh, it doesn't. It just expects a code block. That's interesting. We don't need to move. We just need the async block. And then we just need to call the async function inside of it. So it's going to be clear logs. Still very sad here. This is handling an error which we're not dealing with, so that's why it's a little unhappy here. This is spawn if async is not implemented for task. Maybe it does need a move of something. Nah. So that's unhappy because that's still the same issue. Is it because I haven't got a semicolon here? Yeah, of course it is. So clearing now. Well, it doesn't do anything. Does it do anything? Might be another one of those cases where it's just like, oh, or not. Let's give it an actual name as well. Thanks. Okay, so it's not doing anything at this point. Is it something silly happened? No, it definitely has not changed. Oh, wait, do I need to await the change? That would be very silly, wouldn't it? What does this actually do? Set extension returns a... Ooh. Got me there. That looks a lot like what we're doing. Set extension. Do I just delete it then? Let's just delete it. If someone's clicking the clear button, they probably don't care. Entry.path. I think it's unlink. Remove file. Interesting. I wonder if there's a Tokyo version as well. It certainly is. Now, another thing that's worth mentioning here is, as in any language of async, you should not loop a bunch of stuff that you are asyncing over. So this is a stream. I'm going to add a little to do in here. So technically next entry, dir is going to give us, interesting, not what I thought. I suspect it's possible to turn it into a stream. I don't know how. So this goes a bit outside my wheelhouse again, but really, we don't need to wait for this to be removed before moving on to the next file and then removing that as well. This might work. Let's just delete that for a second. Right, that. And then this goes down. Let's just get rid of this. They're not called promises, they're called futures. Interesting. Don't care about you. So could do a filter map here. That can't possibly be right. Okay, I think if this isn't an iterator already, let's not mess around with this. Let's just leave it as it was. Not ideal. Retrigger this. Oh my goodness, the window's gone so tiny. I'll have to look at setting the window size at some point. I really need to think about the actual layout of everything as well. So clear logs shouldn't clear. Oh, however. Aha, okay, wait. It might be possible for us to do a. Where's our other resource? Logs resource. Dot restart. Dot wait. Yeah, okay. Have we already consumed it? Is that why you're upset? Cannot borrow immutable variables. Mutable. Perfect. That is good news. We don't need to await you. And you're sad because lifetime may not live long enough. Okay. Don't think this will work. Nah, hates that, doesn't it? I need to move. That's oops. Need to move here. I'm sorry, I can't stand looking at that. Let's just do a quick. I probably changed a bunch of stuff there by mistake, but it doesn't matter. So, clear logs. Ta-da! Restart the application. And we should only have the one log now. Or, oh, we've got two. Oh, maybe we started it twice. Seems we're getting some double entry in there. Seven minutes. How much do I care to fix this? Why would we have a double entry? It is possible that I literally did actually do the log twice. Oh no, I know why it is. It genuinely is a double entry because it's running both the server. We've seen this before. It runs like a server and an app and the application together. So it's a bit weird, but that actually does make sense. So the last thing that I need to do is go back to main and just put that back to nothing. Do we need anything here? Probably not. Don't know what I did there. And we'll just take that line out. I think that's okay. I think I'm all right with it. Oh, why did you suddenly? Okay, I think it was just slow. That's fine. Seems okay. One last thing maybe is maybe we only do it if there's some logs in here. So I think I'm hoping that this is a exact size iterator. It won't be, will it? Which means I'd have to do a count. Or is it? It might be, actually. It's a vec over a map, but we haven't done a filter, so it might be okay. What was it? It was logs dot... Technically, yes. I think... wait, that's... Yeah, it's unstable. Thought so. It's greater than 0. We want this. And otherwise we want didn't quite work. Okay, there we go. So if there are logs, there it will say the logs in here. Otherwise, it will say no logs. If there are logs, there will be a button to clear the logs. I'm calling that done. It's not pretty at all. I'm okay with it. And that is effectively going to be the stream. I plan on doing one next Tuesday. We will see. I will need to come up with an idea and just make sure that I've actually got the time to do it. I probably... What do we have to do next? So let's have a look. Here. So values, I think, is going to be not very interesting. I would like to rethink the application context and the store types, but that's going to be very thinky and not very much doey. And application context being broken as well. Okay, maybe I won't announce a next stream yet. And let me have a think about exactly what would be entertaining, if that's what this is called. But if you've watched this, if you were here live, thank you so much. If you're watching it afterwards, thank you so much. Sorry for the camera problems and various other issues that I had. If you would like to join the Discord, there's a Discord in the link below. And the next Iris video for Patreon should be out tonight, and for everyone else will be out in a few days' time. Thank you again to my Patreons for supporting me. Really, really amazing given how early on it is in the channel and everything. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I will see you at some point. Definitely on the sorry, I'm secretly looking for the stream button to stop the stream, but I don't know where it is. I will definitely see you in Iris. There are a few more videos to go. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure if I am going to do unsafe. I'm not sure yet. I do want to do async, and async may require unsafe in order to do it without bringing in more libraries. So that could be quite interesting. But I'm not there yet. The next video coming is on iterators. The one after that will be on threads. And then we'll see where we get to. Okay. That is it. I'm just going to go back to my standby scene. Thank you again. Ciao.